Hey everybody, Ask Me Anything is back. Why is it that every week when I record these, I'm always on the road? Today I'm coming to you live from the beautiful Hoxton Hotel in Chicago, Illinois, where I managed to score a corner room, right? Window there, window there. It's I love when you can get a corner room at the Hoxton. I adore it. Uh, I mean, I like to stay here anyway, but it's for the rooms are small, which is fine. They're not big suites. I don't need one. But boy, is a corner room lovely. Anyway, uh, an anonymous call. Let's get right to it. Anonymous question on toxins and poisons in our food. Are there cooking appliances, utensils, materials, or methods that you have stopped using because they can introduce poisons and toxins in our foods that you avoid? Do I use plastic utensils? No. Do I use plastic or other cutting boards? No. Do you use nonstick cookware that contains PFOAs or PFAS? No. And I've sort of been on a campaign with all my friends. I open up their drawers where their pans are if they're hanging, and I look at these like 20-year-old fabric coated nonstick pans. If you're going to do nonstick, do like a scan pan or something like that. And by the way, I'm as you've seen me on video and heard me talk about carbon steel pans. You can make nonstick in about 2 minutes, and I can make scrambled eggs in every single one of my carbon steel pans, and in my stainless steel pans, and in my Le Creuset and everything else that I cook with, because I just preheat them well enough, and I use the right technique. So I'm not really big on any of the nonstick cookware. Regarding shelf-stable foods, a lot of people have talked about glass containers versus some of the plasticky liners in canned foods. The issue really is what kind of foods. High acidity foods, I make sure that I buy, if they do come in a can, from EU countries that ban the use of certain types of liners. I try to avoid it, but I bring in tomatoes from Italy all winter long. I mean, that's my jam. Overall, when it comes to toxins and poisons in our food, I think all of these questions from our anonymous asker are good ones, but more importantly is what's the food you're putting in your body. Forget about what the containers are. What's worse is the food. So stay away from factory made anything. Stay away from processed anything. Eat whole foods, not the supermarket, the concept. Lisa writes, will there be more of the Zimmern List at any point? Boy, I hope so. Zimmern List, for those that don't know, and it's available on Discovery Plus, the streamer, is the show that we won an Emmy for. I think it's one of the best pieces of work I've ever done. I adore it. Absolutely adore that show. It was a half hour, easy to digest. I went to 3 places in a city and said, hey, if I'm in a city for a day or two, here's where I eat, here's what I do. And we had some incredible episodes. If you've not seen the Portland, Maine episode of Zimmern List, it'll make you cry, laugh, and be hungry all at the same time. Love that show. Ellen writes, I love a bison burger. So do I, Ellen. Do you have a certain type of meat you use to make a good burger at home? Would love to see a video. Oh my gosh, that's a great idea. I will make a video on my burger technique when I get home. Usually, I grind a lot of beef trim myself, and then just, when I have enough ground trim, I make burgers. When I have people coming to my house, I'll buy some chuck roast and beef clod and other stuff, and I've got a grinding attachment for my standing mixer, and I grind it. When I'm in a super rush, I will buy really good bison meat We have some incredible farms in Minnesota. I'm lucky. So our local supermarkets all carry, really great bison meat. It's got a wonderful flavor. But sometimes I like that really intense American beefy flavor, and I'll buy the cheapest, fattiest 75/25 meat that I can find and do smash burgers and get an incredible crust on them. Julie writes, I've just tried canned baby eels at a St. Louis restaurant. Why canned ones? They were mind-blowingly good. Of course they were. Serve with a lemon wedge. Do you have suggestions on what to serve with them? Yes. I'm assuming they were cooked in a small cazuela with olive oil and garlic and one hot chili, which is the way angulas, the Spanish style of eating Spanish name for baby eels, and how the Spaniards cook them, and just with bread to sop up that fantastic oil. Angulas are one of the dishes that my father taught me to eat as a young man. And I ate them every chance I could get. I would almost detour to Spain just to eat angulas. Then there came a time when they were so rare, they were $80-$90 for a small little appetizer portion that quite frankly wasn't enough to really qualify. And now I just won't eat them on principle. I've been to 5 or 6 different countries in the EU, all of which that have eel fisheries, and they're essentially non-manageable because there are no more eels swimming, baby elvers coming up from the Sargasso Sea and swimming into the river systems to grow and get fat, and it's really sad. It's really, really sad. So yeah, saltwater eels. Sadly, we're left with eel farms now, although there is a great eel fishery coming out of the Chesapeake Bay. So I encourage 99.9% of the eels coming out of the Chesapeake come out of the eel traps, and the fishermen just put them right on the planes to Europe and Japan. But I would love to see us cooking more eel. There is a fantastic domestic resource for eel, the American Unagi company. American Unagi, UNAGI. Google them. Hey, Andrew, I grew up on smoked oysters with brie on French baguette slices. All right, I'm not going to yuck on your yum. Brie and smoked oysters at the same time. Interesting. I love both bloomed rind French cheeses like brie and smoked oysters. Never together. I'll have to try it. Any recommendations for a brand or smoked oyster appetizer recipes? There's a great canned seafood company called Jose. I mean, tinned fish and conservas are wonderful. So I would look for the Jose brand. There was I just saw online, I keep looking for my phone. I was just, then I realized it's recording me. I was just looking online, and I saw that I did a tinned fish demo on my Substack a couple of weeks ago, and I used the razor clams from Jose. And I mean, each box has this beautiful watercolor picture, and it's great. I'm pretty sure they do a smoked oyster, but I would go online and get a good one. I make smoked oyster dip out of them. I love that oyster flavor, and when you mix it with sour cream and a little bit of cream cheese and dill, and maybe a smoky hot chili in there, some scallions, some shallot, a teaspoon of sherry, mix it all up. Delicious. Another anonymous question. How can people order takeout and not worry about whether they're actually hurting their favorite restaurants? And I think a lot of people are concerned about articles that have come out about third-party delivery platforms. In other words, if you are using a Uber Eats or DoorDash or Grubhub, and you know, they're charging the restaurants that they have to pay a fee, sometimes as much as 30% for local deliveries, or as much as 55% for nationwide shipping. It's been a problem. And so there are a lot of different municipalities and states are trying to address this by closing this loophole that allows or prohibits third-party delivery platforms from overcharging. Now, the reason restaurants were okay with it was a simple reason. Better to move product out the door and get new product in and have people who are in there cooking and making money and make your profit off one side and let the other side break even. But that's not an effective business model, right? And what I do is I always try to order directly through a restaurant's website wherever possible. And I will make choices based off that. So if I'm in a city and it's 10 o'clock at night and I want pizza, I will go on, and if you Google, like if you're in New York and you want pizza late at night, do it through like, I think it's called like pizzadelivery.com or gopizza.com. They charge very little, and it really is just an aggregator for these pizza parlors to put, to have a mechanism so that they get the orders and they pay very little money. But most big cities will have their own delivery for the more popular things like Chinese food and pizza and stuff like that. So I'm really into letting restaurants do their own delivery. The other thing that you can do is stop being so lazy. If you're ordering, the other night, I was in a hotel in Boston, and I wanted Chinese food, and I found a great place that was 4 or 5 blocks away, and I just walked and picked it up. I called them and did it the old-fashioned way. Can I make a to-go order? And just read their menu off their website and went and picked it up. Anyway, so that is, those are a couple ideas for you to support a local restaurant, even when you're ordering delivery. And Andrew B. from Washington, D.C. writes, have you ever eaten cherry-flavored anything that was any good? Yeah, Van Leeuwen's ice cream, black cherry with chocolate pieces in it. Also, artificially flavored cherry slushies. I know what I said at the top about the chemicals in food, but when I go to a movie, I want popcorn and a cherry slushie. That doesn't make me a bad human being, and that is cherry flavored, and it's artificially flavored, and I love it. So there you have it. Okay. Enjoy the week. And remember, put questions into the chat. I'll answer them. See you next time.